Yeah, I forgot that was my intro. Not a bad video. I'm gonna play a song and then what are we gonna look up today, Nuggy?
I don't know. I'm outside throwing
No.
wood, playing with wood.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Try.
Oh, hold my beer. Yeah. We ain't doing Silent Night tonight, folks. We waking up the whole damn trailer park. Mud Daddy in the house. Let's get it, 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 let's get it. I pulled up in a dually, didn't need no sleigh reindeer. All pit bulls and they barking out the way. Got a sack full of naughty, ain't nothing here nice. I'm drinking whiskey neat, I don't need no ice. Red suit cut off at the shoulders, biceps grease. Mud Daddy's here to initiate the feast. Jimmy was too small, so I kicked in the door. Now Grandma's doing body shots down on the floor. It's a Mud Daddy Christmas. Hide your daughters and your wives. We get lit like the lights. Yeah, we lucky to survive. Got the tinsel in a tangle, got the eggnog spike. It's the kind of rowdy party that Jesus would have liked. Yeah, shaking up the gifts, making snow angels in the mud. If you ain't getting wild, then you just a Christmas dub. Look over in the corner, man, Slinko's getting loose. He spiked the apple cider with some 90 proof juice. And Mrs. Slinko, Lord, she's looking like a snack, wearing nothing but a ribbon and a Santa hat. She's shaking what she got underneath the pine tree. Wait, who was that passed out? Oh Lord, it's time. The dab king had tried to chug a gallon of the peppermint schnapps. Now he's fighting with a nipper looking for the cops. It's a Mud Daddy Christmas. Hide your daughters and your wives. We get lit like the lights. Yeah, we lucky to survive. Got the tinsel in a tangle, got the eggnog spike. It's the kind of rowdy party that Jesus would have liked. Yeah, shaking up the gifts, making snow angels in the mud. If you ain't getting wild, then you just a Christmas dub. Now Celtic started yelling, yeah, yeah. I'm in the hospital through the wall. Set the curtains on fire, deck the halls, y'all. And crawfishes in the kitchen cooking something wrong. Use a reindeer jerky and a dirty country song. He said, taste this pumpkin, it'll put hair on your chest. I think I saw a possum floating in it, but I digress. Mud Daddy on the table stomping in his boots, showing Mrs. Claus exactly where he keeps the roots. We swapping dirty gifts, yeah, batteries included. If you thought we'd keep it holy, you were quite deluded. The pumpkin pulled up, saw the lights in the beer, grabbed a cup from crawfish and said, Merry Christmas, dear. We ain't sleeping till the sun comes creeping on the snow, so kiss my mistletoe right before you go. B-O-O-B. Here! Merry Christmas from the mud pit. Wake up, son, you're sleeping in the dip spit. K.I. put the ceiling fan down, Slinko, get your wife actually, leave her right there, Mud Daddy out.
Yeah, there we go. We got it up here now. We'll see if we'll see how many people like cars. I forget what is this. I forget which one this was.
4 decades, 48 dangerously unhinged muscle cars. From the 1960s to the 1990s, these are the machines that pushed speed and sanity to the limit. The 1960s were the decade that gave birth to the American muscle car, a time when horsepower was cheap, gasoline cost pennies per gallon, and safety regulations were something engineers laughed about over lunch. Detroit was locked in an arms race where cubic inches and quarter-mile times were the only currencies that mattered. The result was a collection of machines so powerful, so primitive, and so willing to kill their drivers that they defined an entire generation's relationship with speed and danger. These weren't transportation. They were weapons disguised as automobiles, built in an era when survival depended entirely on skill, courage, and luck. Today, we're counting down 12 most dangerous muscle cars out of the 1960s. The machines that proved American engineers could build anything, even if nobody could actually drive it safely. Number 12, the 1967 Pontiac Firebird 400. Pontiac's answer to the Mustang arrived late to the pony car party, but it made an impression. The Firebird 400 took GM's mid-size muscle car engine and crammed it into a compact platform that was never designed to handle that much power. The 6.6-liter V8 made 325 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't sound apocalyptic by today's standards. But in a car that weighed around 3,300 pounds with primitive bias-ply tires and no electronic aids, it was more than enough to get you into serious trouble. The Firebird could hit 60 miles per hour in around 6.5 seconds and run the quarter mile in the mid-14-second range. What made it dangerous was the chassis. GM had designed the F body platform for handling with smaller engines, and the suspension geometry simply wasn't optimized for the weight and power of the 400. The front end was nose heavy, which caused severe understeer when entering corners. But lift off the throttle mid-corner to try to tighten your line, and suddenly all that weight would transfer rearward. The rear tires would break loose, and you'd be in a drift, whether you wanted one or not. The steering was quick for the era, just over 3 turns lock to lock, but it lacked feedback. You never really knew what the front tires were doing until they were already sliding. The brakes were drums all around on base models, which meant stopping distances were measured in optimism rather than feet. Even with the optional front disc brakes, fade set in quickly during aggressive driving. The Firebird 400 taught thousands of young drivers that looking fast and being controllable weren't the same thing. It was a car that invited you to drive aggressively with its aggressive styling and powerful engine, then punished you for accepting that invitation. Number 11, the 1968 Dodge Dart GTS 383. Dodge took their compact Dart platform and stuffed it full of big block power, creating one of the most ill-mannered muscle cars of the 60s. The 383 cubic inch V8 made 330 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque, installed in a car that weighed barely 3,200 pounds. The power-to-weight ratio was impressive, and the performance numbers reflected it. The Dart GTS could hit 60 in under 6 seconds and run the quarter mile in the low 14 seconds, but the chassis was completely overwhelmed. The Dart was built on Chrysler's A-body platform, which was designed for economy cars with 6-cylinder engines. The suspension had minimal travel, the shock absorbers were undersized, and the frame rails weren't reinforced to handle the twisting forces of big block torque. The result was a car that would literally twist its body under hard acceleration. Panel gaps would change, doors would become difficult to open, and the whole structure would flex like it was trying to fold itself in half. The front suspension geometry was primitive, with torsion bars that allowed the nose to dive dramatically under braking. The rear suspension used leaf springs and a solid axle, which meant wheel hop was a constant problem. Launch hard, and the rear axle would wind up the leaf springs like a torsion bar. When the tires finally broke loose, all that stored energy would release at once, causing the rear end to hop and skip violently. The steering was slow and vague, which made precise control impossible. And the brakes were marginal at best, drums all around unless you ordered the expensive front disc option. The Dart GTS proved that putting a big engine in a small car created performance, but not necessarily drivability. It was a car that could accelerate like a rocket, but steered like a shopping cart and stopped like an oil tanker. The weight distribution was also problematic, with the heavy big block sitting far forward in the chassis. That made the car nose heavy and prone to plowing straight ahead in corners, no matter how much you turned the steering wheel. Number 10, the 1969 Ford Torino, Cobra 429. Ford's midsize muscle car entry was built to compete with the Chevelle and GTO, and they didn't hold back. The Torino Cobra came standard with Ford's 429 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8, which officially made 375 horsepower. But like all Ford big block ratings of the era, that number was pure fiction. Real output was closer to 450 horses, with torque numbers exceeding 500 pound-feet. The Cobra could blast through the quarter mile in the low 13s and hit 60 in under 6 seconds. Those were serious numbers that put it in the same performance league as cars, costing much more. But the Torino's size and weight made it a handful, At over 3,800 pounds, this was a heavy car with serious momentum. The long hood and short deck proportions meant forward visibility was compromised, especially during hard acceleration when the front end would lift. The chassis was typical Ford, body-on-frame construction with a solid rear axle and leaf springs. The suspension was tuned more for ride comfort than handling precision, which meant body roll was dramatic in corners. Turn the steering wheel, and the car would lean heavily to the outside before the front tires actually started changing direction. The delay between input and response made precise driving impossible, and the rear suspension had a tendency to allow axle wrap during hard acceleration. The leaf springs would wind up as torque tried to rotate the axle, and when the tires finally broke loose, the springs would unwind violently, causing wheel hop that could break rear axle components. The brakes were front discs and rear drums, which was better than many competitors, but they still weren't up to the task of repeatedly hauling this nearly 2-ton beast down from triple-digit speeds. Fade was a constant concern, and stopping distances grew alarmingly long after just a few hard applications. The Torino Cobra was a car that felt stable, planted at cruising speeds, which gave drivers false confidence. Then they'd push hard and discover that stability disappeared when you asked for maximum performance. The body-on-frame construction also meant the chassis would flex and twist under hard use, with the body separating slightly from the frame. You could hear creaks and groans during aggressive cornering as the structure worked against itself. Number 9, the 1967 Chevrolet Camaro SS 396. Chevrolet's pony car response to the Mustang came equipped with genuine big block power and SS trim. The 396 cubic inch V8 made 325 horsepower in base form, but the L78 version with the higher compression ratio and better breathing component made 375 horses. That was enough to make the 3,300-pound Camaro genuinely quick. Quarter-mile times came in the mid-13s, and 60 miles per hour
Okay, I gotta take my
arrived in
dogs
under
out real
6
quick.
seconds.
I'll be right back,
But
buddy.
the first
You're
generation
good, boy.
quirks that made it dangerous in inexperienced hands. The unibody construction was less rigid than body-on-frame competitors, which meant the chassis would flex under hard cornering or acceleration. You could actually see the cowl twist if you watched carefully during a hard launch. The front suspension used coil springs and unequal length control arms, which was sophisticated for the era. But the geometry wasn't optimized for big block weight, and the front end would plow in tight corners. The rear suspension was a multi-leaf spring setup with a solid axle, and it had a nasty habit of causing the rear end to step out suddenly when you hit a bump mid-corner. The steering was researched ball type, which meant it was vague and slow compared to modern rack and pinion systems. You needed nearly 4 full turns to go from lock to lock, and there was significant play in the center position. That made small corrections difficult and large corrections slow. The brakes were optional front discs with rear drums, which was adequate for normal driving but marginal during sustained hard use. The weight distribution was nose heavy because of that big block engine sitting far forward in the chassis, which meant the front brakes did most of the work. They would fade quickly during aggressive driving, leaving you with rear drums that locked up easily and sent the car spinning. The Camaro SS was a car that looked fantastic, sounded menacing, and went like hell in a straight line. But ask it to turn or stop at speed, and it revealed its limitations quickly. The combination of unibody flex, primitive suspension, and marginal brakes made it a car that demanded respect and skill from its driver. Number 8, the 1969 Mercury Cougar Eliminator 428 Cobra Jet. Mercury's upscale pony car got the full performance treatment with the Eliminator package, and the results were spectacular and terrifying in equal measure. The 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8 made 335 horsepower officially, but that was the same engine Ford rated at 335 in everything from Mustangs to Torinos, regardless of actual output. Real power was closer to 400 horses, with torque exceeding 440 pound-feet. The Cougar Eliminator could run the quarter mile in the mid-13s and hit 60 in just over 6 seconds. But the Cougar was heavier than the Mustang it was based on, tipping the scales at nearly 3,500 pounds. And that weight came with consequences. The longer wheelbase, 111 inches compared to the Mustang's 108, provided better straight line stability but made the car feel larger and less agile. The hideaway headlights added weight to the nose, making the front heavy weight distribution even worse. Mercury marketed the Cougar as a more sophisticated alternative to the Mustang, with a plusher interior and more sound deadening. But all that luxury equipment added weight and dulled the car's response. The suspension was tuned for a comfortable ride, which meant it wallowed in corners. The steering was slow and overboosted, little feedback about what the front tires were doing. The brakes, while adequate for casual driving, would fade quickly during hard use. The Eliminator package added stiffer springs and shocks, but it couldn't overcome the basic physics of a nose-heavy rear-drive car with a solid rear axle and marginal tires. What made the Cougar Eliminator particularly dangerous was that it attracted buyers who wanted performance, but also valued comfort and luxury. These weren't hardcore enthusiasts who understood the car's limits. They were people who wanted to look fast and occasionally drive fast, without necessarily having the skills to handle a 400 horsepower rear drive muscle car. The combination of serious power, comfort-oriented chassis tuning, and inexperienced drivers of crashed Cougars. Number 7, the 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner. Plymouth's muscle car was designed to deliver maximum performance for minimum money, and it succeeded brilliantly. But it also created one of the most dangerous muscle cars of the era, precisely because it made so much power available to so many young, inexperienced drivers. The base engine was the 383 cubic inch V8, making 335 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque.
All right, I'm back. And what's up, guys?
A quarter mile in the mid-14s. But the real danger came with the optional 440 cubic inch engine, which made 375 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. With that engine, the Roadrunner could run low 14 and hit 60 in under 6 seconds. The problem was that Plymouth stripped the car of everything that didn't make it faster to keep the price down. That meant vinyl seats instead of cloth, rubber floor mats instead of carpet, and most importantly, the cheapest suspension and brakes they could get away with. The front suspension was basic torsion bars with minimal damping.
Mute me, will you?
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Thank you.
They say it takes a village, but my town was just me. A kid with scraped up knuckles and dreams too wild to see. Fought the day I was born, came out swinging at the air. You weren't there to catch me, Dad, but I climbed those stairs. You missed out, Dad, you missed the whole ride. From my first broken bike to the tears I'd hide. I hope I made you proud, though it's hard to tell how, 'cause I got here alone, and I'm standing here now. Games, the heartbreaks, the nights I'd stay up late, wishing for your shadow on my wall, but it came too late. They say blood runs thicker, but water raised me strong, with a village of strangers who carried me along. So thanks to the ones who filled your empty chair. But it's your loss, Dad, that you weren't ever there. You missed out, Dad, you missed the whole ride. From the scraped up knees to the pride in my stride. I hope I made you proud, though I'm not sure how, 'cause I got here alone. And I'm standing here now. I don't need your name, I don't need your face, but I can't lie, Dad, there's an empty space. Every win, every fight, every dream I'd pursue, I'd whisper to the wind, hey Dad, this one's for you.
All right, we got us some pro stock drag racing from 1979. Looks like it's Glidden, Nicholson. What is that, Satmary? And Hill. Well, Hill. I bet they know a lot more about it than I do.
Bob Glidden and Don Nicholson squaring off in the run we're about to see. Nicholson, 51 years of age, in the far lane. Bob Glidden is in the near lane. Glidden winning 33 out of 35, and it's a good start with Nicholson getting out first, but here comes Glidden halfway, and at the top end, and it's Glidden pulling it away. Bob Glidden continues his remarkable success in pro stock competition as he beats back the challenge of 51-year-old Don Nicholson. Now we look to the pro stock final matching those Hoosiers, Bob Glidden and Joe Satmary. And remember, Satmary was the last man to beat Bob Glidden. He did it in May of 1978, and Glidden has not lost a race since that time. Satmary will be running in the far lane. Bob Glidden will be running in the near lane, and they are in the staging area. At the finish, it is Bob Glidden pulling it out to win it. Bob Glidden, the pro stock champion, his 21st career victory. Only Don Prudhomme has more. Wife out of the crew chief, sons Billy and Rusty own the crew, and he's the champion.
Well, I look for the track to be better today, really, for us than yesterday. The rain certainly isn't going to hurt it any, and the cooler air is going to keep the rubber from balling up so bad. So I think it's going to be better.
The world champion Bob Glidden's in the near lane in his Plymouth Arrow, and a red-lighting Joe Satmary puts his Chevrolet Camaro out of competition. The win automatically going to Glidden. He still drives around Satmary. His elapsed time, 8.55 seconds at 149 miles an hour.
Now that's a badass Pinto right there.
His brand new car, the Plymouth Arrow, is Bob Glidden. And having his work cut out for him is Mark Ewell from Reno, Nevada. Finishing number 8 in the world last year. No match for Bob Glidden last season. How will he do this year? Glidden carrying the big number 1 of the reigning world champion. Quite a story about Glidden. He retired a Ford that he campaigned last season, but was never defeated. Came out with a brand new car, brand new combination, and won his first race. And he is in the finals of this Gator Nationals Championship. 8.48 seconds, his speed 150 miles an hour.
Damn right it is there. Yeah, see, I knew he drove for both.
Do you know what the national record is?
It is 8:49 as far as I know.
Well, it's not now. It's 8:48. That's what you just run, a brand new NHRA national record for Pro Stock.
That's great. We've been having a lot of trouble here getting hooked up to the track, and that's really great.
You had the shootout earlier. You sandbagging a little bit, maybe not showing everything you have?
No, not really, no. I mean, the chute came out early, but it didn't affect the ET of the run, and I was definitely trying to get lane choice by low ET. No, that did not affect the run in any way.
And this is the finals of Pro Stock Eliminator, and this is the one car. Indiana.
It definitely affected
Glidden's competition, the team of Sox and Martin. A name practically synonymous with full-bodied stock car type drag racing. Sox and Martin coming out of the super stock ranks a few years ago. At one point in his career back in 1971, Ronnie Sox won 6 of 8 national events. He's against the best in the world right now. And he tried a whole shot and it failed as he left a red light on the starting line. Your winner for the 7th straight national event, Bob Glidden, 8.53 seconds, his speed 147 miles an hour, and back on the starting line. That tells the whole story. Here in instant replay, you see just how early Ronnie Sox left the starting line.
With the big number 1 on his window signifying a world championship last year, Bob Glidden proves that, yes, indeed, the rest of the pro stockers were right. They were racing for second place.
Like Bob.
Ronnie Sox took a gamble on the line. It was his only alternative.
Now
Your red lights,
and
here comes Bob Glidden. You've got them shaking their heads constantly. He waves to Ronnie Sox as he goes by. Ronnie gives him a big grin and a wave back. So it's an all Chrysler Corporation final, and that hasn't happened since like 1972.
Can I get him in here?
If he gets over here in a hurry, yeah, we got funny cars coming down.
Yes.
You know, that's your 22nd NHRA national win.
Each win is a great win. This has been a great race for you. Come on over here.
Two good friends and kind of on the same team, really, as far as the factory's concerned.
We're on the same team until it comes on the racetrack, Doc, and we're not on the same team anymore.
How do you go
he
from
wants to win as bad as I do?
Well, congratulations to both of you. And Ronnie Sox, you've won a lot of national event wins in the past, and you're going to have trouble with this guy before the season's over.
I'm afraid you're right.
Okay, Bob Glidden, still number 1.
You're looking at the top team in all of drag racing. A man and his wife, along with their 2 sons, have dominated a segment of the sport so effectively it staggers the imagination. Bob and Etta Glidden today hold so many records, it's difficult to list them all. From a beginning in super stock in the early 70s, where his main recognition resulted from a divisional title, Bob entered his first pro stock race at the 1972 Super Nationals in California, making it to the runner-up spot. His first major event win came in 1973 at the U.S. Nationals, and started the Glidden family on a series of wins that seems to have no end. Coming into the 4th annual Cajun Nationals, Bob is number 2 on the all-time win list with a total of 22, second only to Don Prudhomme's record total of 27. Bob has also made an incredible 15 straight final round appearances in the very difficult and demanding pro stock category. The pro stock car is the ultimate drag racing machine constructed from an original factory-produced automobile. NHRA utilizes a system of weight factors to allow many different makes to be competitive. Bob Glidden has seen weight change come and go, and it seems to have no effect on his ability to win. In fact, Glidden retired his undefeated Ford Fairmont at the end of the 1978 season, built this Plymouth Arrow, debuted it at the Winter Nationals and won, then won again at the Gator Nationals. Bob entered the Cajun Nationals with additional weight added to that Arrow and is the number 1 qualifier once again.
Your win streak is uninterrupted, even though you totally change equipment. How can you possibly be so consistent?
Well, we have a lot of years of experience in pro stock racing.
That's
we have
just
a
like
facility.
I was going to call you
Indiana, and I have my wife, my kids. It's a family operation. I think this has helped us a lot in learning and knowing more about our car and what we do.
6 or 7 years ago, you're a line mechanic at an automobile dealership. You make up your mind to go pro racing. It must have been quite a decision for a family man.
Yeah, indeed it was. We had to make the decision as to whether we wanted to try to race. And back in those days, that was a bad word to a lot of people. But we had to make our mind up as to whether we were going to race for a living or work our normal job and have a check at the end of the week.
You know, you see a lot of wives and kids helping out with the race car, putting air in the tires maybe, or pouring the fuel in the tank. Not so with your family. They're really involved mechanically.
Well, a lot of families are getting more involved in drag racing today. But our family has been involved in this for 10, 12 years. Etta, this is really all she knows. She lives, eats, sleeps this drag racing because it is our profession, and we try to do our best at it.
When the race is over, who takes everything apart?
Well, rarely do I take an engine apart. Etta or Billy or the two of them
Well, Glidden was
will
ahead of his
always
time when it comes
remove and disassemble the parts. The
to
engine,
horsepower.
whatever, transmissions, rear ends, and my main concern is how they go together and what goes together.
6 years ago, did you ever think you'd be on your way to becoming really a pro stock millionaire? You're close to that $1 million mark.
Fortunately, we are close. No. 6, 7 years ago, we were concerned about going to a race and qualifying, not how much money we were going to win.
If you were to quit right now, what do you think Etta would say?
Well, I am sure at this point, drag racing is like any other profession. As you do it and do it and do it and live it and eat it, you would think you would like to stop and do something else. The grass always looks greener on the other side. But I think after a couple of months or 3 or 4 months, it would look different. I think she would like to go back to it.
Well, you're famous now for these quick changes in equipment from one brand to another. What do we anticipate in the future here?
Well, I don't think we'll make any major changes. We might go back to another car for one race sometime during the year, but I think we'll stick with the Chrysler.
And this Cajun Nationals could be the 9th consecutive NHRA national event victory of Glidden, a record I don't think will ever be matched.
While Etta Glidden does a tremendous amount of work in the pits and in the shop at home, she also has an important function to perform on the starting line, helping out with Bob in the burnouts, orienting Bob on the racetrack, keeping tabs of the car prior to it leaving the starting line, making sure there's nothing leaking from underneath the car. Etta Glidden concentrates on that Christmas tree.
Brodo, what's up, bro?
Her husband Bob. In the first round of racing at the Cajun Nationals, Jim Canet of Lilburn, Georgia, drew the honor of racing against the #1 qualifier. He red-lighted away his chance for the win, and Etta Glidden showing the reaction of joy in her face as husband Bob takes another first-round win. Red light left at the starting line. Etta Glidden heads back to the pits for more work. Bob Glidden, moving into the semifinals, we met him earlier, has absolutely dominated pro stock racing for the past 2 years. In the semifinal round, it is the national record holder, Randy Humphrey, against the former record holder, Bob Glidden, carrying the big #1 on the side of his car, indicating that he won the World Championship title in pro stock last season. Plymouth Valari against the Plymouth Arrow. Glidden with a slight lead at the middle of the track. He extends it at the finish line. Glidden winning over Humphrey 8.61 seconds to a losing 8.66. Here's how close it was. In the last stages of preparation of their Plymouth Arrow for the final round of Pro Stock Eliminator is Bob and Etta Glidden. Steve Evans is with them.
If you ask the other pro stock drivers why Bob and Etta Glidden are #1 in this business, they'll all tell you the same thing. They just flat work harder than everybody else. Glidden, do you ever stop working? Etta?
Not very often.
I mean, at home, at the races, it never ends.
No, it never ends.
I noticed you were packing the parachute. That's kind of the ultimate tribute a husband can give a wife, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm responsible for him stopping at the other end.
What else are you responsible for here preparing for this final round?
Anything that needs to be done. It's kind of a mutual thing. He handles the major mechanical chores, and then any other thing that needs to be done that I handle.
Bob, how's it look for this final round?
Well, it's going to be a close race. I think Lee went a 66, is that right?
Yeah.
And we went 61. So it's going to be whoever gets out first will most likely win the race.
Pro Stock Eliminator Finals. The classic Chevrolet versus Plymouth battle. This is the Camaro of Rare and Morrison of Arlington, Texas, driven by Lee Shepard. Lee Shepard has been in the finals 4 times at the Cajun Nationals, dating back to 1976 when he won Pro Stock Eliminator. His competition, the #1 car, Bob Glidden in the Plymouth Arrow. This marks the 3rd consecutive year he's been in the finals of Pro Stock. He won in 1977 and in 1978. In 77, Lee Shepard won modified eliminator right here on this same racetrack. Last year, he was runner-up to Bob Glidden. He's trying this year for the upset of the meet.
This means you got a trigger good
But it
on.
looks like Bob Glidden is stretching his lead. At the finish line, Bob Glidden takes the win. His 9th consecutive national title. And for the 16th consecutive race in a row, Bob Glidden appears in the finals of the Pro Stock Eliminator at an NHRA national event. Let's go again to Steve Evans, Bob Glidden in the winner's circle.
No man has ever done it before. I doubt any will ever do it again. Your 9th straight NHRA national event.
That's great, Steve.
It appears that if anybody's going to beat Bob Glidden, it'll have to be you. You'll have to make a mistake.
Well, this race was really close. I don't know what the numbers were on the final, but
8:59.
What was Shepard?
I don't know. 148.49 you're in.
Yes, but in the semis, he went within 400 of us. So, this was a close race.
And just recently, they added weight to this car. NHRA did, took some weight off the other cars, and you're still in the winner's circle. I know you were frustrated by that, but it must feel good now.
It always feels good to win, but it feels good to win.
Are you going to stay with the Plymouth? You talked about maybe going back to the Ford.
Ed and we'll have to discuss that next week and make our mind up. I don't know yet.
It's always Etta. She really is your teammate.
Well, she's not really the teammate. She sees more of what goes on than I do. You know, I'm in the car. I'm going down the racetrack. And she really has a better handle on what we should or shouldn't do. So I have to consult with her no matter what we do.
Before we see those funny cars, take a look at this Pro Stock competition. This is Lombardo driving one of those Pro Stocks, extensively reworked. They run with carburetors. They use gasoline. That's Bob Glidden, who has won 9 straight times. The last time he was defeated was right here in Columbus, Ohio, a year ago. Lombardo has squared off against Bob Glidden 6 times and been defeated by him each time. Bob Glidden seeking his 24th major crown of the National Hot Rod Association. There's the Grumpy Jenkins Camaro nearest to you. Bob Glidden on the outside, ready for the start. Remember, Lombardo was a whole shot expert. He really comes off that light, and he does. Pulls away, he has the advantage. Lombardo's out in front, they're even. Glidden is coming back at the line. Glidden wins it. Bob Glidden pulls it off after trailing at the start. Let's look at it again and replay, Carl.
There's that patented Lombardo hole shot. And as they come out here, you can see that he's amassing about a 1-car lead right off the starting line. But the Bob Glidden power makes it up, and he's got the car length advantage down at the finish.
The man that has dominated the Pro Stock circuit, Bob Glidden, at the wheel of his Plymouth Arrow, carrying the world champion's big number 1. Both cars into the staging beams, and a red light start for Glidden. Iaconio, the winner, the crowd stunned into disbelief for the 2nd time in a row at a NHRA championship. Bob Glidden, red lights away. Overcome with excitement, the fans and officials just cannot believe that Frank Iaconio from Totowa, New Jersey, the hometown boy, defeats Bob Glidden in the final. The red lights start, giving the win automatically to Iaconio. Concentration so hard on the Christmas tree, he is still in disbelief that he won the race as he gets out of his car in a turnaround area here at Raceway Park.
Well, this race is always a special race for me because I live here. But yes, this year is even more so because of the significance of the 25th year.
Pro Stock Eliminator, the tops in engineering in drag racing.
Yeah,
These are the factory hot rods, utilizing a car as delivered from the factory, but with lots of modifications. The engines, though, are limited to 2 4-barrel carburetors, and they must run on gasoline. This is the Chevrolet Camaro of Kevin Roddy from Tucson, Arizona. And as he got a tough component, the world champion Bob Glidden, the low qualifier at the Silver Anniversary Nationals. Creeping into the staging beams comes Glidden, concentrating on that electronic starting device known as the Christmas tree. The wheels high in the air for Roddy, and maybe a few inches lead for Roddy at that point in the track. But at the finish line, it's Glidden by about a car length. Wife Etta, the crew chief on Bob Glidden's car, looking on as Bob Glidden pulls out another win and moves into the finals. The one-liners may be flying in the funny car pit area, but at the starting line, it's serious business as we're ready for the finals of Pro Stock Eliminator. Number 1 in the world last year was Bob Glidden. He has currently got a tremendous lead in the World Championship points chase this year. He converted from his Ford last season to the new Plymouth Arrow. Number 2 in the world was Larry Lombardo, driving for Bill Jenkins. And here it is in the finals, number 1 and 2 in the final at the U.S. National. And a red light start for Larry Lombardo. He knew he had to take a chance at the Christmas tree. The red light putting him automatically out of competition. So your winner is Bob Glidden. For the 7th time in a row in the finals, Bob Glidden has defeated Larry Lombardo with an 8.61 second elapsed time. Let's go to Steve, who's with Bob right now.
Well, Larry Lombardo pushed the lights a little too hard that time and came up with the red one. Congratulations. The Indiana fans loved it.
Thank you very much. This was a hard win for us. This has been really a tough week. We've had 3 engines in the car on and off and engines apart. All these guys really made it tough out here. All the pro cars were close.
Thank you, Bob. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The Pro Stock title stays in Indiana.
The Chevrolet of Rare and Morris in Arlington, Texas. Lee Shepard doing the driving against Bob Glidden, the defending world champion. In fact, he is the 1979 world champ, having wrapped up the title before the world finals ever got underway. For the 15th straight time, Bob Glidden has qualified in the number 1 position. The lane just as tricky, that right-hand lane for the Pro Stock cars, as it is for the higher horsepower entries. And Glidden, with a quicker elapsed time the previous round, uses every bit of his horsepower in that Plymouth Arrow to his advantage as he takes the measure of Lee Shepard, 8.60. So he will have lane choice going into the finals against Frank Iaconio. Here you see a close race for the first 100 foot or so, and then it is Bob Glidden all the way to the finish.
Up against Frank Iaconio.
While the funny cars get ready, it's time for the finals in Pro Stock. Wearing the big number 1 is the Plymouth Arrow of Bob Glidden, signifying he's the defending world champion, and he's also the new world champ, having wrapped up that title before ever coming to Ontario in the world finals. He's racing against the only man to beat him this year, Frank Iaconio from Totowa, New Jersey, in the Chevy Camaro. And a whole shot for Iaconio puts him about a foot ahead of Glidden. Can he hold on for the win? Oh, what a close race to the finish. And it's Bob Glidden who wins it. A tremendous close race. 8.65 seconds. The winning time for Glidden, 8.74 seconds. Almost a tenth of a second slower. But a lot quicker off the starting line was Frank Iaconio. At the finish, though, it's where it's important, and that's where Bob Glidden gets first by just a matter of inches.
Dave Bob Glidden trying to shed himself of all of the safety equipment. You can see the sturdy roll cage built in this car that houses a man who has broken yet another record, drag racing's first ever 5-time world champion. Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
We had to race for this one.
Oh, those guys are terrible on me. I'll tell you, Iaconio was really tough on me.
They're really the only guys that have beaten you with any consistency at all.
Well, they've got their car, their performance is really good, and Iaconio is quite a driver.
Well, congratulations to you, Etta, the boys. It's great. 5 times world champ, Bob Glidden.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, what to shoot? All right, well, some time for his own, huh?
Pocket full of clouds, I'm the weatherman today. Zigzag samurai, slicing stress away. Leaf in my palm, it's a palm tree parade. Take a hit, exhale, watch the worries decay. One puff magic, call it Houdini smoke. Brain doing cartwheels, no Olympic joke. Zombie land, shuffle feet dragging on the floor. But my mind's on Mars, knocking on a Martian's door. Puff, puff, no pass, that's the code of the stash. This ain't no grass, it's that upper class gas. One hit, just tight, feel it grip your soul. Vision turning tunnel, now you're losing control. One hit a quitter, oh yeah, I'm gone. Don't stare at me, I'm just vibing in my zone. Roll it up, twist it tight, light it, then I flow. One hit a quitter, oh yeah, watch me go. One hitter, baby, lights out, good night. Calling death, not death, but you losing the fight. Take a seat, let it hit, let it sit. No regrets, puff, puff, no pass, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. Juicy thoughts dripping like syrup on my brain. Spinning like a vinyl, playing tracks of Mary Jane. Eyes half closed, but my soul wide awake. Feeling like a chef, cooking up that herbal cake. Laughing at the ceiling, shadows doing away. Zigzag dreams, I'm a paper plane crusade. Cooch a little deeper than a rabbit hole, I'm stuck. But I'm loving every second, I don't need no luck, yeah. Zombieland anthem, shuffle in slow motion. Floating on a rhythm like waves in the ocean. Leap for zigzag, I don't play no sides. Just me and my eye, taking mellow strides. Knock, knock, who's there? A nod to your head. Your couch just proposed, now you about to get wet. Spins in the dome, got you questioning life. That one hitter quitter, cutting sharper than a knife. One hitter quitter, oh yeah, I'm gone. Don't stare at me, I'm just vibing in my zone. Roll it up, twist it tight, light it, then I flow. One hitter quitter, oh yeah, watch me go. One hitter, baby, lights out, good night. Calling death, not death, but you losing the fight. Take a seat, let it hit, let it sit. No regrets, puff, puff, no pass, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's a heavyweight champ, got you slumped in the round. Floating out the ring, can't feed on the ground. Got you leaning like pizza eyes, redder than Mars. Heartbeat doing double time, you seeing the stars. Like one hit a quitter, oh yeah, I'm gone. Don't stare at me, I'm just vibing in my zone. Roll it up, twist it tight, light it, then I flow. One hit a quitter, oh yeah, watch me go. Say a prayer to the pack, this ain't for the weak. Take a hit, feel the smack, now your knees wanna speak. So levitate your astral project, but the blunt's still burning. What did you expect? But you losing the fight. Take a seat, let it hit, let it sit. No regrets, puff, puff, no pass, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. One hitter, baby, lights out, good night. Call it death, not death, but you losing the fight. Take a seat, let it hit, let it sit. No regrets, puff, puff, no pass, man, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I love fishy fishy. Hey, Larry, get over here and help me.
Mom and Dad. I'm Super Finn, the greatest of all time.